Today, let's make some beer. All right, good morning. It's 5 a.m. We're headed into the brewery. Today we're brewing Alpha. It's our West Coast IPA. We're gonna take you guys along for the ride. Let's go. All right, just got some, I don't know, bad info, but, well, it's accurate, but it's not good for us. So for those of you that don't know, it's early January 2025, and pretty much all Southern California is on fire right now. And we're getting power shut off in areas. And the brewery sounds like it's gonna be one of those areas. So what we're gonna do is get on the line, get some generators, get a few things going so that we can not ruin today's brew, and then more importantly, fermentation over the next couple weeks. We don't want power interrupted there and the temperature to fluctuate too much. So all of a sudden, our beautiful plan A just got blown up and we're on plan B. All right, one of the most important things of the morning is breakfast. So let's tear into this. All right, so one of the things that I like to do here is write down everything that's going on right here on the war board. So I got this from the fire service anytime we might go out on like a larger scale incident or deployment. All the directions, all the information is up on some sort of board. It could be a TV. Now there's like a lot of digital stuff, but for us, this is our war board. We're gonna write down the volumes of everything, the temperatures we need, the times that we need to be at. And this is going to help everybody know the plan so that when they're in here helping, all the information is available for them up on the war board. All right, we got our salts here and we're putting them in. So you might ask yourself, like, what's the purpose of this? So usually what brewers are trying to do is they're trying to achieve a certain pH, and then also some of the gypsum and calcium are going to affect mouthfeel and the way the bitterness comes across. So if we're trying to accentuate bitterness like we are in an IPA, gypsum might be one of the ways that brewers do this. The step that we're at right now is called the Vorlauf, or recirculation. So what'll happen with the grain is that there's a bunch of grain dust and particles and husks and stuff that the mill that we needed milled, that we don't want to carry over to the boil kettle. So what we do is recirculate the liquid back onto itself, and all those pieces kind of get put back onto that grain bed, and it acts as like a natural filter. So when it starts out and you see a lot of milkiness to the liquid, and then eventually it clears up like this, which we can see, and then we know it's ready at the end of its process to head over to the kettle. So we're up on the brew deck. Right now we're going to check on the sparge, see how much, so we can just see a little bit of the grain, and there's some water above it. It's raining down, kind of rinsing the grain or the sugars from the grain. And we're moving everything over to the kettle. So the kettle's about 2/3 of the way full, and we're at 184 on the temperature. So the temperature's still coming up, and the volume's still coming up. So hopefully they meet at the same time and the transfer transitions into the boil. So as the boil kettle is filling up, what we want to do is take gravity samples, and we want to make sure that we land on the right gravity and we don't overshoot. So with these bigger tanks, you have to move around the liquid so the sugars don't stratify in there when they're hanging out. We're gonna get a quick sample, check the gravity, cool it down, and see where we're at. All right, so we got our sample. It's cooled down. We're gonna put it into our little gravity device here. It's gonna measure the gravity and tell us the temperature of this sample. All right, so we're currently 1070. So the temperature is a little too high still, but ballpark, that's where we're at. We'll hold off and check it again in a second, but we're at 1070. Our target for the boil is 17.8 barrels at 1065 gravity, or no less than 1063. So that's what we're shooting for. We'll do a couple more tests the closer we get. We got about 2 to 3 more barrels going, so we should hit it right on the numbers. All right, so we redid the gravity reading. This is a good lesson for anybody making beer. So the higher the temperature, it's gonna read, the gravity is gonna read artificially low. So now our temperature is 60 degrees and it's 1072 on the gravity. So as this stuff cools down, you're gonna get a more true reading. And really, like 70 degrees or room temp is what we're shooting for when we cool the sample down. So now that we know where we're at, like I said, we have about 3 more barrels, 4 more barrels to get into the kettle, and the gravity should be coming down as more diluted liquid water is moving in there, and we should hit our 1065 at 17 barrels. All right, so we got to prep the fermenter. So it's already been cleaned, it's already had a caustic cycle and rinse. And now we're gonna hook up some plumbing so that we can bring beer in and do a clean in place cycle and make sure all the pipes and fittings and everything on the fermenter have been cleaned with our acid sanitizer. So we're probably gonna put you on a little loop here and you can see this process get put together. The plumbing, we're gonna prep everything with the anticipation that clean beer is gonna come out of our brew house and then get pumped this way. So we wanna make sure all the hoses and fittings from the fermenter to the heat exchanger are all clean. Here we go. Well, it looks like I pushed the knife in too far and cut the bag open already. Well, good thing we're using them all today. So these are hops in their pellet form. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if it'll focus. There you go. So what happens is they start off as like really small pine cones. They grow on a vine that grows up to like 25 feet. And they'll get processed into like these little pellets. And what that does is it takes some vegetable matter off the plant or the flower. And what brewers are trying to get at for the most part are the oils that are inside these pellets. So the pellet increases the surface area. It allows the product to disperse easier in the boil, and the oils get into solution faster and more of them. As far as like when you brew with whole hops, there's so much more mass and matter when the hops go in. So this decreases kind of the amount of material that's in the batch, and it's accessible. It's much more accessible. So we're gonna have a 60-minute edition and a 15-minute edition, and then we're gonna bring it over to the whirlpool, and we're gonna throw a bunch more in the whirlpool. We're gonna be weighing out some Chinook here. The storage of these things helps with freshness. So it's just like anything else. When you're using the freshest ingredients, you're usually going to get better flavor and aroma and everything that you're looking for. There we go. Almost there. We'll wrap those up and put them back in. So we're going to take this over to the brew house, put it on the deck, and then label everything so we don't get them mixed up, because a lot of them look the same. I mean, they're just little green pellets. All right, so as you can see, we got a good rolling boil going. We're at our volume and we're at a gravity, and we're about to put in our Centennial hops for bittering. So here we go. 60-minute charge going in. There we go. All right, we're graining out. So we usually get like first little bit by the door out of here, and we'll turn the auger on and let that work. And we'll send this out to a local farm, and their animals will be able to enjoy it. Good second use of the materials around here. So you can see the beer that's coming out of the kettle is pretty clear. There's a little bit of particulate that's going by, but our Vorloff did a good job and got a lot of the big chunks out, and everything looks good going into the heat exchanger. All right, oh my God, we just finished the whirlpool. So our whirlpool, it sounds exactly like what it does. It slings the liquid with the hops in it around in a circular format, and then what ends up happening with the hops is any solid material for that matter that's in the liquid, centrifugal force will take it to the edge, gravity will make it fall down, and then in the middle of that, like a hurricane, like in the middle of the cone or in the middle of the tank, there's lower pressure. So as opposed to the higher pressure on the edges of the tank. And so eventually all the matter, the hop material and stuff like that will migrate to the middle, and it'll end up forming, I don't know if you can see this, a hop cone in the middle of the tank. And that's kind of like the tip of the iceberg, if you will. So that's the top of it. And then what's happening is we're pulling off the edge, which is like clean beer. So all the clean liquid that has the oils from the hops that are now in the liquid is all getting transferred to the fermenter. So it's 2:30. We wrapped the day pretty much on time, a little bit late. We probably could have like snipped a little bit of time off here and there, but if you want to see anything back here, this is kind of a new format that we're doing with some vlog material, behind the scenes stuff. So if you're interested in canning, keg cleaning, anything that happens behind the scenes, leave it in the comments and interact with us, and if we can get to it, we will. Thanks for coming along. See you guys later.